This module discusses the same theme of giant identity. Our identity makes us similar. Identity, identical. So you are familiar with these words. So if two things are quite similar, we say that they are identical. So this identity is a word of the same family. So it makes us similar. For example, we all are Pakistanis and different. See, it does two things at the same time. It makes us similar, and at the same time it makes us different. We all are Pakistanis, but we are not Canadians. So this is something else that some of us may be both Canadian and Pakistanis, dual citizenship that you call. That is an exceptional thing. So this is in general what we are talking about. Identity relates us with some social group. We are in a group, but we are out of the other group. This is what we discussed in the first point. Groups are by far exclusive. By far. It means there is some space for variation, but by far groups are similar within themselves. Every social, it may not happen that you belong to two groups simultaneously. So this is not a case. Every social group has its own discourse conventions. When you are a member of a social group, whether it is a community of practice, workplace, or a country even, so you follow certain conventions of discourse, means certain conventions of communication. Different discourses assign different identities, and your discourse, your way of talk, it defines who you are. It defines your identity. This is what we mean by performance of identity through language. We are members of many groups. Now, we are members of our family. We are working in an office. We are member of that office. We are member of some club. We are member of a university as a student, and so on. So simultaneously, we are member of several social groups, and every group has its discourse, and every discourse will give us an identity. So it means we will have multiple identities. Every one of us will have multiple identities. Above all these identities that we are part of, the groups we are part of, the identity that is based on this selection, there is an overarching identity, that is our national identity. We belong to a different nation, and because of this identity, we become different from others. We belong to a different nation and culture. Some scholars say that, and you know why we call why we use this term two-nation theory. This is the point that I am trying to make here. We belong to a different nation. So in India, we were two nations. We were different from Hindus. Some scholars say that nationality is imagined. This is one point of view, that what you call identity, this is not something real. It is imagined that we have identity. We are similar. This is something hypothetical. This is something supposed. This is one point of view. Rather, they say this is just a narration, a story, we tell about ourselves to give some meaning to our life. Okay, if so, cross-cultural people have two different stories. Suppose for the moment we accept this point of view that national identity is nothing more than a story. It is as stories are imaginary, so similarly identity is imaginary. So if there are two people who belong to two different cultures, so they have two different stories and two different persons. National identity is not value free. Next point is that first point was that national identity makes us different. Second point is that national identity is not value free. There is us and them division. In the beginning of the module, I said identity makes us similar with others and it makes us different from others. So, we are similar, we are us, we are Pakistanis, we are them, we are people, them means those people which are different from us. We are not them, we are us. So, this is us and them division. Them is often seen, not always, often seen negatively. So, this is what we mean by national identity is not value free. All positive values we assign to us and all negative values we tend to assign to them. सारी अच्छी बातें हम में हैं, सारी बुरी बातें them में हैं. This is. If the national boundaries cannot be crossed, at least mentally, wherever we are, we maintain this division between us and them. If the national boundaries cannot be crossed mentally, we are bound to see cross-cultural marriages as problems. If in any case, not to talk about geography, even we have mental boundaries, we cannot cross them, then what about those marriages in which we cross cultures? So, cross-cultural problems in this perspective would be regarded as problem. It is thought that intermarriage or cross-cultural marriages has violated some intra-cultural marriage norms. No, because you combine with a person, you accept a person who belongs to another culture. So, by doing this, what you are doing? You are violating some norm of your own culture. Intra-culture means inside of your culture. Interculture means between two cultures. Intra-culture means between the same culture. Okay. A particular ideology is promoted about intermarriages in form of negative predictions. How we maintain this national boundary? Again through negative stereotyping. And this time this stereotyping is being done in form of negative predictions. कैसी predictions हम करते हैं? People say that it will not last. This marriage will break soon. Okay. But all this is stereotyping and couples are aware of it. Those people who are going to marry with each other, so they are well aware of this fact. They too know that it is likely that our marriage will fail. Okay. This is Dr. Piller, whose research we are talking about in this module and in many coming modules. She belongs to Macquarie University, Sydney, Australia. Her work on intercultural communication is worth reading and it's excellent research in this domain. It is not any exaggeration, it is not a hype. I would recommend you that you download this book and browse this book to understand your topic in a broader perspective. Intercultural Communication by Dr. Piller. So, we conclude from this introductory talk that intermarriages are stereotyped. How people generalize about them, they take them as problematic, that this is a problem, there is some violation of culture, so that's why these marriages will fail. National identity, even imagined, becomes a barrier. Why these marriages are predicted to fail? Because national identity becomes a barrier, and this barrier can't be crossed through.